Hello and welcome to The Big Show, hosted by me, Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me, as always, my host and color commentator, Dwayne Ward, the author of Pissed Off Parent. The Big Show podcast is a podcast where we always discuss modern day issues like men's health, masculinity, the hard truth about dating, and what makes a man a man. So let's go ahead and get the Big Show started. So, Dwayne, how are you, man?
I am doing great, and then I saw the label for tonight's show, and I'm like, "Woo, we're gonna get into it tonight."
Today
woke women.
It's gonna be a barn burner today, as they say. I always try to push the needle just a little bit, because people like a little bit of a blood pressure raising topic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be boring. I want to kind of push the envelope a little bit. And also, as you guys probably know, if you've been a regular on the Big Show podcast by now, you probably know that I do talk about men's health. I do talk about dating. And I, throughout the week, get emails and messages privately from sometimes women, but mostly men who have watched the Big Show podcast. And they ask me questions. Hey, Jimmy, what would you do about this? Or how would you handle that situation? Mm-hmm. And when it comes to dating out there in the modern dating world that we live in, there's a lot of reoccurring questions that I get. And some of them are, hey, Jimmy, what's the best type of woman to look for? Is it good, or should I be okay dating women who already have children? What are some red flags that I should be watching out for? Is it worth dating a person with this religion or this ideology or this political belief? So I figured what I do today is I'll go ahead and give you my best opinion on, and when it comes to politics, on whether or not it's worth dating woke women, since a lot of times I hear the guys are, generally speaking, a little more right-leaning, and the women, generally speaking, are a little more left-leaning. And sometimes that's a match, and sometimes it's not a match. Right. So we're going to dive into it today, Dwayne. We're going to really talk today on whether or not it's worth dating a woke woman.
Yes. I would say it should be a short podcast. No. Just so you know where I'm coming from. But before we get to that, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Send it to your best friend. Send it to your worst enemy. If you know a woke person, shoot it over to them. We would love to get their opinions and positions and all that and handle it accordingly. Yeah.
And, just to kind of give a little precursor, this is not a political show. Right. And, of course, there's no one rule fits all, one size fits all. Look. Yeah. At the end of the day, if you're the type of man that is left-leaning, it's not that there's anything wrong with it. But I will say that if you're not really in your masculine, because it's not something that's naturally who you are or something that you want to be, hey, I'm not here to tell you to change. I'm just saying that the left-leaning type of idea of a woman might better suit you. Now, can you make that relationship work when she wears the pants and you don't? I suppose it's possible. I
like when no one wears the pants, but that's just me.
Yes.
That's kind of my position on it.
Well, Dwayne, you're talking literally. I was talking metaphorically, but you're talking literally. Okay. Yes. Right. Yeah, I'm referring to metaphorically wearing the pants. There are some relationships where it's successfully works out fine when she wears the pants and he doesn't. I can think of one right now. But I would just say in mass, it's not something that really works out very well. Men biologically, we want to lead, we want to serve, we want to protect. Women, they want to nurture, they want to love, they want to submit, and when they find a man who's in his masculine that makes her feel safe emotionally and physically, she falls naturally into her feminine. Yeah. And that's what I see normally, but normally does not mean 100%. So, I'm going to talk today about in mass. Is it great? Is it worth it? Is it okay? Is it worth dating the woke woman? So, one of the things that kind of brought me to this topic, Dwayne, is a few weeks back. So this didn't happen just last week. This happened a few weeks ago. Right. There was actually a liberal TikToker, right, on TikTok. Okay, right. I'm not a big fan of TikTok. I find it to be a lot of the younger age and some of this. It's just not my. Yeah. It's not my jam. It's not my jam. Yeah. But I do flip through it from time to time. And there was a liberal TikToker that actually went viral after complaining that the only masculine and chivalrous men that she can find were conservative men.
Okay. Who knew?
You can't make this shit up. And she posted it a few weeks ago, and the clip comes from TikTok user MS_Petch, right? So MS_Petch, which is she lives in LA. She's a LA-based singleton who regularly posts about her mishap dating life. She's always posting about how it is to be on the dating scene. And she's a self-professed liberal. Her posts often prove polarizing and, regularly show like a pinning for progressive men. Her most recent exploit, posted to her 35,000 followers that she has a few weeks ago, was a little bit different though. But it did serve as a slight deviation from the rest of her normal online content. So let me go here. This is MS Petch. In the video, she questioned why she cannot find a left-leaning man who's willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship. Something that has triggered a huge response in the comments. As a liberal woman, she says, it's really hard to find a man who's willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship in today's day and age who is not a conservative. That's what she says. The TikToker here explains of what she perceives to be the optimal relationship. A liberal man who is in his more traditional masculine role. That's what she feels is the optimal relationship. And she says, she goes on to say, obviously, as a liberal woman, she continues to tout her left-wing leaning status. Second time, right. She goes, right. I do want to be respected for my independence, and I do want to have my own autonomy in the relationship and not be conformed to the traditional female homemaker childbearing role.
What the hell is she talking about? I mean,
oh my God.
Okay, wait, she's saying she thinks that conservative men won't she can't have her independence and where does this craziness come from?
You're seeing where I'm going with it, right? She says, I want to be respected for my independence.
Right.
I want to have my own autonomy. I want to not be conformed to the traditional female homemaker childbearing role. So, but in return, she still wants a traditional acting man, but she is not a traditional woman. So then she goes on to add that what she is labeled as one of her saddest realizations. And she says that most of the men who she's dated who have a more natural provider masculinity about them are normally conservative men.
Right.
And the content creator goes on to attribute certain characteristics to what she views as a perfect man, pondering how to parlay it with the aforementioned political prerequisite while not forfeiting her, as she puts it, morals and values. So she says a man who wants to pay on the first date, who wants to open your door, who has that want and desire to take care of you and provide. Then she specifies for a second time who is not conservative.
Right.
So,
okay.
So this is her, this is her right here. So,
because there's so much to unpack there.
I mean, does someone want to tell her? Does it have to be me? Does someone want to go ahead and explain to this lady, or does it have to be me again? Because I'm willing to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she wants all the benefits, but none of the, I'll say, consequences, which I don't know. She basically wants it all. She wants I want him to pay for everything. I want him to, pay all the bills, basically pay everything. And then I still want to do whatever I want to do, which I'm still having an issue with that. Because, I'm hoping most people would assume I'm a conservative guy, married, and my wife has full independence. I guess we need to figure out what independence means, but she has her own autonomy and her own independence, and she can, do what she wants to do. But she, we are together. I mean, she can go to meetings, she can go out of town, she can, do her own interests. I mean, hell, we stayed up the other night playing video games all night, and she did her own thing. That I guess that lady has a fundamental understanding of like words and what they mean and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she wants some stupid idiot to basically pay all the bills while she can do whatever the hell she wants to, cheat on him, act like a complete idiot. I mean, I have on my screen here, which is why I'm saying never date a woke woman. I don't know if you're going to throw up on the board just yet, or if you have it down in a later piece. But yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let me share my screen.
Go ahead.
This was actually a study that was done. Let's see. Here we go. That was done. Oh, I guess about a year ago. Let's see if it pops up. There it goes. And again, you can pull the information from there. But this is why you never want to date a woke woman, liberal one. Whatever, I use those words synonymously. But the same women that say is it wrong? Is it always wrong to cheat on a man versus is it always wrong for a man to cheat on a woman? Liberal women by far say it's okay for women to cheat on men, but it's not okay for men to cheat on women. I think this chick here is definitely one of those liberal women. But yeah, their words, they don't want to live in the world they create, but they want all the benefits and they don't want any of the, I don't want to say consequences because it's not a consequence. I mean, if you want to be in it's like I want to be in a committed relationship, but I want to be able to cheat. But I want to be an exclusive. She wants her man to do all the traditional stuff, not cheat and pay the bills and do all that stuff. But she wants to be able to, go out there and sling some penis or something. That's
so what I'm reading here is that when you look under liberal women, okay,
yeah,
57% of liberal women believe that it's always wrong when a man has an affair.
Yes.
But only 36% of liberal women believe it's always wrong when a woman has an affair.
Right.
So more than half think, hey, when he has an affair, it's always wrong. But almost only a third of women think that it's actually always wrong when she has an affair. So
Exactly.
This is another great example of how it's like, do as I say, not as I do. Another great example of how women will not take accountability for their wrongdoings and their wrong actions.
Right.
When it comes to conservative women, 80% feel that it's always wrong for a man to have an affair, and 71% feel that it's always wrong for a woman to have an affair. Close to identical.
Yeah.
80 and 71 is way closer than it is, 57 and 36. So it's crazy. But this TikToker, Dwayne, she's wondering why she can't find a more masculine, traditional man without compromising. She continues to complain about her unsuccessful dating life. Right. And as she spoke, text appeared at the top of the video asking followers if she is asking for too much with her request. Mm-hmm. While she expresses a desire to be equal with a prospective partner who still provides for her. Right. So she goes on to say, hey, am I asking too much here? For someone to be equal, yet have a man to provide and take care of me to some extent. Another complaining caption aired a critic of some of the lackluster liberal men she's been assumably running into. She says, all these men out here wanting to split the bill. On the first date, she says, what? On the first date? How dare these men out here, these liberal men that I date, that I'm looking for, are out here wanting to split the bill on the first date. Blasphemy. Just blasphemy.
Does she know what equality means? The word equal is in the word equal.
The hypocrisy here is astounding.
Oh my God.
And everybody sees it. She goes on complaining again about how her search for a strong-willed leftist man has so far come up short. Right. Before asking if she's being unreasonable. She says, I really don't know what to do because I don't want to compromise my morals and my values just to find a man. Am I having my cake and eating it too? Then the clip cuts out, but has been since viewed more than like a 250,000 times, right? So, yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got the video. I'm going to play it just so that you guys see that I'm not lying, okay? Yeah. I'm not lying. I'm not fibbing here. Let me see if I can figure out how to get this thing done. Okay, hold on. Share. This is the first time I think I've shared something on the Big Show podcast.
All right. So just you should hit the audio.
Audio. Okay. Check this out. This is her TikTok. Can you see her?
I can see her.
Do you want to know one of the saddest realizations I recently had? Was that as a liberal woman, it is really hard to find a man who is willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship in today's day and age, who is not a conservative. A man who wants to pay on the first date, who wants to open your door, who has that want and desire to take care of you and to provide, who is not a conservative. And obviously, as a liberal woman, I do want to be respected for my independence. And I do want to have my own autonomy in the relationship and not be confined or conform to the traditional female homemaker, childbearing role. And most of the men that I've dated who do have that more natural provider masculinity about them are normally conservative. So I don't really know what to do because I don't want to compromise my morals and values just to find a man. But am I asking to have my cake and eat it too?
Dwayne.
It's nuts. And it's funny because actually on the Pissed Off Parent page, I put a meme up, trying to find it here, and it got a lot of very interesting results. People coming out of the woodwork. Boy, there's a lot of posting on there. And it's something along the lines of, women wanting men to, they want to be, equal. And again, that people don't understand what that word equal even means. And then but then they want them to do all the other traditional male role things, mow the lawn and fix the plumbing and scare the intruder out of the house. And, all of that stuff. And the people were like, and it was all women and a couple simps were in there. I'm not going to throw it out there, but a couple simps in there talking about, that I don't understand what masculine roles are. And obviously, arguing for nothing. Boy, I'm trying to find that one because it got a lot of feedback. And again, this chick has no idea what the hell she's talking about. I mean, she needs to understand what do words mean, because I'm married. My wife has equality. She has femininity. She has autonomy. She has equality. I don't understand. I would say, are there any conservative men that when they hear the words equality and autonomy and all that, are there men out there that, I'm sure there are some, I would argue bad guys out there that would say, no, my wife's not equal. And what does that mean? Yeah. What does equality mean?
Well, I think that it's a buzzword that sounds good. That's what I think. I think that, saying why shouldn't we all be equal is a heartwarming sounding thing. But for those of us who live in the real world, for those of us who understand how this world works, there's a lot of truth about life. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest realizations that I've ever had to learn in this world, in this life that I've lived so far, is that no matter how nice of a person I am, Dwayne, the world's never going to treat me any better.
Right.
I'm going to have to still struggle and grasp and claw for everything that I get. And I can give and give and give. And so many people have given so much, and it doesn't make the world treat you any better. It's still going to put you through trials and tribulations. We are not equal. Men and women are not equal. Men and men are not equal. Women and women are not equal. Every day as a man, we have to climb that corporate ladder. We have to fight with our metaphorical shields and swords and try to be the best around, whether you're playing a softball game or whether you're doing this. We all know that there's a hierarchy of men. Men understand that. We know that a general in the army and a private in the army are not equal. They're not.
Right.
And the amount of time, effort, energy, work, and dedication, discipline that a general had to go through to become a general, how much shit he or she had to go through, endure, is not even close to being on the same playing field as a private.
Right.
The private can't even tie the general's shoes. So to a point that I hear, I'm going to post something that Lord Marco, what's up? Yeah, I love your stuff, bro. He says, you do your equality thing and we'll do our patriarchy thing and we'll see who prospers more in the end.
Well, yeah, that's an obvious
He says,
one.
I don't believe in gender equality, but I'm also willing to date a woman who's shorter than me poorer than me and dumber than me, right? So let me touch on Lord Marco's point.
Yeah.
When I counsel women, when I talk to women, I oftentimes ask women or panels of women these questions. Do you want a man who's taller than you? They go, yes. Do you want a man who's smarter than you? Yes. Do you want a man who can lead better than you? Yes. Do you want a man who makes more money than you? Yes. Do you want a man who is wiser than you? Yes. Do you want a man who's stronger than you? Yes. Do you want a man who's more ambitious than you? Yes. Then you're not looking for an equal. You're looking for your superior. Now, I know that's tough to swallow. And I know it doesn't sound good amongst the PG life that a lot of people live.
Right.
But if you're looking for a man who exceeds all these things that you have, exceeds you in all these things, that's an equal? I don't get it. And now that doesn't mean that men get a free ride to treating their women any old certain way.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. Men are providers and protectors by nature. We want to take care of you. We want to love you. And we certainly want to make sure that our women don't live a life of burden, a life of stress. We want to keep you innocent and pure and loving and soft. But don't downplay the hard work that men do by calling us equal when you haven't had equal output. You see, there's a reason why the Major League Baseball players make more money than the minor league baseball players.
Let's talk about soccer. Let's do soccer.
The men's soccer team make more money than the women's soccer team. One generates a few tens of million, and one generates 8-9 figures a year, you know? And if you really want to get to equality, I mean, my understanding, I could be wrong by these stats. My understanding is that the female soccer players get 20% of the pay of the total revenue when the male soccer players only get 7%. So where's the equality there?
It's actually worse than that. The women's soccer players were guaranteed a salary no matter what happened. And we all know what happened a few years ago, the bug, which there was no soccer, no nothing. They still got money. The men, their contract is if they don't play, they don't get paid. They got no health insurance. They got no nothing. They got, if you get money, if you play and if you do well. That's how the men's soccer team got, how they get paid. That was their contract. The women's soccer team was, you get, I think, $1 million or whatever that number was. I'm sure someone will say, oh, it's $1.2 million or whatever that number was. You get a guaranteed salary, whether you show up or not, if you're sick, on your period, whatever, you get a guaranteed salary. You're getting health and benefits. You're getting other spots, whatever. It doesn't matter if you make it to the final 20, you're getting paid. And they're whining about equality. And again, it went to whatever court it was in, and they obviously found that they were full of crap. And we all know what happened to the one soccer player when they could have won the world or the whatever game a couple weeks ago or a week ago. Yeah.
Messed that kick up.
Yeah. And we talk about equality. Like, I firmly believe, my wife is, we're equal partners, but there, as you talk about like the general and the private or the captain, whatever. And I look at it as there's different pieces in there. Like, as far as keeping the home a certain way, she's definitely, puts a lot more into that. I mean, if you looked at the house, ignore all of this. But if you look at the house, it would be bare. There'd be nothing on it. And she made the house a home. I mean, her qualities and when we sit down, we talk about things about, do we move here or do we do this or, decisions that we make. But, I make the final decision when there's a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I would say that we're equal. But I do get your point that, I bring more experience to the table. I bring, more energy, more in certain areas, but she also has her pieces too. And of course, when we got married, we, agreed that we would be equals, but someone has to make that decision. And that decision. It sounds like
you could take away the equal word of it and plug in value. It sounds like you're referring to value, like the value that Brandy brings is extremely valuable. The equal, I would say not so much, because without your protection, the family's not safe. Without your provision, there is no home. But to your point, she's extremely valuable because she takes your four walls and makes into a home. She takes 4 or 5 sentient beings and turns them to a family. So I don't want women to misunderstand. You are extremely valuable. You are needed and you are wanted. I'm referring simply and only to equality. Because if you truly want equality, then why don't I hear women pushing for equal bricklayers, equal people hanging shingles on the roof in the Texas sun at 112 degrees? Why don't I see equal equality in all the crappy, and I don't mean any disrespect to men, but the crappier, harder, more risky, more dangerous jobs? I only hear equality at the top CEO level jobs in the air conditioning. But let me tell you something. That's the top 5%. The rest of the 95% of the men out there who are on oil rigs, who are driving buses, who are delivering the food, who's out there harvesting the food, who are packaging the boxes, who are doing the hard workloads, I don't hear women pushing for equality on those. And so it's not that we don't want equality. Men are going, listen, if you want to get in the arena and fight, grab your shield, grab your sword, but you have to play under the same rules as all the rest of us. That's all we're saying. So, Lord Marco spitting freaking knowledge over here. I appreciate you, bro. Hey, our boy Bobby is back. He says these types just want a simp man, one that does all the traditional things, but they still have all the control. And that's the modern day feminist. Good stuff, man. You guys keep posting in the comments section. We'll post it for you. Equality under the eyes of the law. You simply can't equate differences. Let's see what else we got. Catherine says, Bobby. Okay, hello. Oh, we got some friends. B to the O. We found out last time that Bobby is actually also B to B from O. So
that was hilarious.
Same person.
Yeah.
And then he comments on the women's soccer team, highest level they can be. Gets beat by a high school boys soccer team. How can they say they're all equal and valuable as men's team? What he's referring to is that the highest level of female soccer played in an exhibition game with a bunch of high school soccer players and got destroyed by high school soccer players. Come on.
It was embarrassing, actually. It was embarrassingly bad. And
then not too long ago, the same women's soccer team played against a bunch of 55 and over retired soccer players and got wiped out. While they're in their prime. So again, this is not about women bashing. It's just kind of interesting that this TikToker is kind of taking this stance. So this TikToker says if he's working, paying the bills, bring home the food. Then, I'm sorry. This is some of the people who were commenting on this lady. So one woman said, if he's working, paying the bills, bringing home the food, then I'll clean the home, I'll cook the food. I look at it as balance. Again, a good point. Yeah. Another one said his morals and values are his. They don't have to be the same. Being a conservative doesn't mean he's a bad person. And then that MS Petch person, the TikToker that we saw, she replied, I don't think conservatives are bad people. I just don't agree with their values. And you know what? As a matter of fact, let me just show you. Because I can show you better than I can tell you. Hold on 1 second here. Let me just show you because I can show you better than I can tell you. All right. So here's the comment section. Right now, I want you guys. I don't know if you guys can read this or not, but I'll try to read it. Okay.
Open or make it a little bit bigger your screen. Hit Control and then roll your mouse up a little bit. It'll increase the screen size. There we go for us old people.
Okay, cool. So this one guy says, yeah, easy fix, lower your standards. This other guy, Sean, says people in the comment section being obtuse. It ain't hard for a man to respect a woman and their independence while still being a gentleman. Now, here's what I want you guys to understand, ladies and men, okay? Ladies, I know that social media is something that you hold near and true because women love attention and social media gives that to you. Okay. If you really want to know if you're beautiful, if you really want to know if your words mean something, look in the comment section. And if a woman says something and men are trashing you, it's not because these men are just dumb, evil brutes. Right. Men are the ones who have access to relationships. We control access to relationships. Now, this guy, Sean, sides with the TikTok user, right? So here's your standard simp, okay?
Yeah.
When a guy says easy fix, lower your standards, he gets 2 replies because most men agree. When Sean says, oh, it ain't hard for men to respect women and their independence, there's 195 people that tell him how he's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Another guy, I want a traditional man without being a traditional woman. That's what he hears from this woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want a traditional man, but I don't want to be a traditional woman. Again, another guy. All the benefits, none of the responsibilities. Wants the perks, but not the responsibilities. I want everything, and I'll give nothing in return. There, I fixed it for you. Enjoy your cats.
Yeah.
I want conservative values and traits, but vote liberal. What? All I heard was wah. There's literally no reason for nor benefit, kings. Get your passport. He's talking about passport bros. Yeah, but if you need to ask yourself, then what are you giving in return for this? We are just ATMs to you. This is every woman on Fresh and Fit podcast summed up. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, just one after another. Men are out here telling you guys the truth, okay? They're out here spitting facts. I mean, these guys, you can read it for yourself just over and over and over and over again, okay? So it's just like, come on, let's just be honest here. Let's just have an honest conversation and be honest here. This is craziness. So, you see, Dwayne, look, I mean, in today's America, young women are being encouraged to seek personal achievements and professional success by breaking through traditional boundaries.
Right. At
the same time, the message for young men has been muddled. In many cases, the messages that go out to young men can be summarized as just don't be a bad guy, treat women well, don't be a bad guy. An admirable message, fair, but it's rather directionalist. There's no direction for men. When men and women together raise children, the father of that household gives clear, precise, understandable direction for their boys in order for them to grow into the men that he would be proud of, saying, my son is now a man. Yeah. But the young boys nowadays are not getting the direction that they used to.
And the data and the statistics and our jails and are just full of the results of that society that's been raised by women. I mean, over the last 20, 30 years, actually longer now, but it's been primarily women that get the children in the divorce. And with everything that happens, I mean, you can't argue the data. Yeah, I mean, it's government data. The data is there. Kids that are in jail, single mom only houses. And it's not because, again, statistics, data, whatever. It's not because the man just woke up and got a pack of cigarettes. It's because he was pushed out of the home by the woman, by the government, etc. That's why it's happening. And we've got to change it. That's why where we're at today.
And, it's not only, challenging for conservative men to find a good catch, of women, but this online dating market that we're in right now, it makes it hard for both men who are liberal and men who lean a little more to the right. Let me give you some examples of real world people. I'll change the names to protect the innocent, but let's call him Mark. Hey, Mark is a 36-year-old man, and he's a catch by many New York City standards. He's good looking, highly educated, and a talented photographer. He's also progressive, and he participates in protests and gives to left-leaning causes. So Mark is left-leaning. Mark is looking for love. He wants to get married. He wants to have kids. That's his future. In a liberal city like New York, swimming with single women, wishing they weren't single, one could obviously assume that Mark would not have a problem finding a mate. And while he dates and recently has had a couple short-lived relationships, Mark remains single and is trying to understand why he's still single. He goes on to say, I'm really open-minded and cool about gender stuff on dates, but I always feel like I'm walking on eggshells. If I pay for dinner, it signals I don't value my date as an equal. So I'm super casual about it all. If she wants to pay or split it, whatever, that's fine with me. So if I were to meet this guy, Mark, I would tell him that despite his best intentions, his progressive dating style could be the problem that's actually holding him back. That's what I would tell him. While some women actually balk at any hint of traditional male gender behavior, I honestly feel more women miss the loss of chivalry. I find that most women find it attractive when a man plans the first few dates and knowingly walks curbside when they're together. It signals he wants to protect her. It signals that he wants to protect her from passing traffic or puddle splashes. The guy Mark goes on and he says, when I was a kid, my mom told me to always walk curbside, but I assumed my generation of women would think it's too old fashioned. Now I'm really confused. So you see, women, ladies, do you see what you're turning this into? Guys out there are still, generally speaking, they're still conservative by nature. They still have this biology that wants to protect you.
Yeah.
But if you beat us over the head with this equality thing, we don't know if holding a door for you is an insult anymore or whether it's welcomed anymore. And this guy who is left-leaning is saying this exact same thing. I mean, the female desire, Dwayne, to feel protected and looked after is built into their DNA, right? I mean, there's a psychologist named Jeffrey Miller, a professor at the University of New Mexico, and an author of several books. One of them is called The Mating Mind. That psychologist, Dr. Miller, says it's a mismatch between what progressive women say they want and what they actually respond to.
Right.
He says women's instinctive male preferences have evolved for hundreds of thousands of years for guys who are competent and strong, good providers, good protectors, and happy with a sexual division of labor, he said. Women want decisive men who are also compassionate and thoughtful. And so, you know, it hasn't changed that women want these traditional values. So men, my opinion, it's not going to work for every woman. I understand that. But for the mass of women, I would say still remain traditional in your values. Most women still appreciate and respect that. Another woman, we'll name her Carrie. Carrie is 45. She's a fundraising executive who's dated a man in 2018 with a similar left-leaning values and beliefs, right? So, but before long, his progressive dating attitude and lack of initiative to plan dates eventually led to them breaking up. She says, at work, I'm the boss. I have to run the show. I have to be the cheerleader. I have to have tough conversations. She goes, I make all the decisions all day long. And at the end of the day, I just want my guy to say, babe, I got this.
Right.
Carrie's next boyfriend was a conservative who worked in finance. And she said, without fail, he would pick the place, set the time, and then ask if his plans work for me. She said, it felt great to know he was taking care of it all. I appreciate a man who opens the door for me, picks up the check. This makes me feel safe, like I can count on him for other things. She says, I'm grateful for when a man steps up and acts like a man. It makes me feel more feminine. So you see, guys, what I've been teaching you guys for months now is if you can make your woman feel safe physically and emotionally, she'll fall naturally into her feminine role. Now, I understand that some women make that extremely hard to do. I understand. Those women are toxic. They don't allow a man to lead. They don't allow a man to, fight the world because he's always fighting her.
Right.
Those women are going to bring out the worst in men, and then they will turn right around and blame the world for not having any good men when they are too darn masculine and too damaged and too fearful to allow a man to just take the lead when he's asking and begging for me to take the lead. So, while Carrie and her, boyfriend broke up for reasons outside of the political views, she remains a feminist who will only date conservative men. And she does draw the line at far-right conspiracy theorists, fair enough. While she met her most recent ex on a plane, she's now using dating apps to find her next love and says that she's more likely to swipe right on profiles of men who say that they prefer more traditional dating behaviors. She says it's a good indicator that there's a shared mindset. Carrie's preference for conservative men comes to no surprise to that guy, Professor Miller, because Miller commented on it and said, this is a time-tested set of behaviors, strategies, and cultural norms that have lasted for centuries because they help find and keep good mates. And everybody knows this. Women in their heart know this. So folks listening, who you hang out with, date, marry, has enormous effects on all aspects of your life. I'm saying this with the most positive possible connotation. There is a vast potential in it for you if you manage to date the right person.
Right.
Now, let me disclose, okay? Don't think I'm this perfect, high and mighty, I know it all, and I only date the best of the best. Guys, the reason why I'm sharing this with you and the reason why I know this to be true is because all the bad ones I've chosen myself, all the failures I have gone through myself. I'm in my mid to late 40s. Some of you guys are in your 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s out there in the dating scene. Some of you don't have the experience I do because I have time on you. I'm looking back at you guys going, look, as your self-proclaimed uncle, as your big brother, whatever you want to call me, bro, be careful who you choose as a mate because the type of man you turn into will be greatly reflected on who you choose as a partner.
Oh, not my girl. Not my girlfriend. No, I'm a 20-year-old kid. Not mine. Mine's different.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's different. Yeah, we all say that. Let me tell you something. Life has a way of checking that shit real quick. Guys, I have had relationships where her and I elevated each other, jointly created a force field that neither one of us could have had by ourselves. Mm-hmm. Outside all the general joy that comes, all the joy that it brings to you, I also learned that having the right partner can bring a real boost to your personal development.
Yeah,
your career and your business. Sadly, it also works the other way.
Yes, it does.
Both from my own experiences and observing many other people's relationships, I know how bad choices in dating can leave you falling short of your potential. Now, this can come in the form of merely foregoing opportunities. It could come in the form of going out with someone whose presence is actively pulling you down. The latter is something I admit to having. It's something I admit to have being done repeatedly in my 20s when I didn't know any better. Sadly, no one teaches you guys these things in school, and you only realize a lot of it when you look back on your life and you reflect, right? I have personally dated women who have brought out the worst in me. I've dated women who have insulted me as a man greater than my worst enemy could have ever insulted me. Mm-hmm. I have been in arguments and fist fights and altercations with men who have not insulted me as bad as the woman that I was dating has insulted me.
Yeah.
I've dated women that no matter how angry they've got, they would have never assaulted me. And I've dated women that would punch, scratch, and kick me after just a few glasses of wine, and then in the morning claim that she was just playing.
I'm confused. Yeah.
Folks, look, let me share with you guys some of my honest dating advice, okay? But before I indulge in my all-important wisdom, let me give you guys a very quick rundown of how my thoughts and feelings came about and what the ground rules are for this podcast. Okay, for you, this will provide some useful content. For me, this will reduce the toxic fallout that I'm inevitably going to get from airing this podcast and talking ill about women because they're all always perfect. Okay, and this type of content is controversial because of the cancel culture that we live in.
Yeah.
I was warned to never talk about this type of stuff whenever I was going to do a podcast. One of my friends told me I can't see a single good outcome from you talking about this stuff. Luckily, I have friends who give me honest advice. I also happen to have a pretty diverse set of friends that I regularly make use of this diversity to pick the brains of a wide range of people. So the following bits of advice that I'm going to give you are the result of my conspiring with dozens and dozens of my female friends and hundreds of women that I've given advice to over the years. Some of them are woke and some of them absolutely hate wokeness. The resulting advice is for men only, at least for the most part, because women, you can still digest it, particularly those who are looking to improve. Though primarily it's for men in their 20s and 30s, okay? It summarizes the stuff that in retrospect, I wish that I had someone that who could have told me this long ago. But I've learned this over a lot of failures and a lot of years. But before I get into the list, we need one final definition of a term. And for those of you who don't know, what are woke women? Okay, so let's talk about what are woke women. Okay, unless you've been living the past few years under a rock, you've at least have a vague idea of what wokeness actually is. Okay, the Urban Dictionary defines woke as the act of being very pretentious about how much you care about social issues. So that's kind of what they say, Dwayne.
Right.
You will probably have found yourself a fine specimen of a woke woman if she triumphantly posts on social media that she has just signed an online petition that will really, really, really change the world.
Change the world, yeah.
Yeah. Number two, if she regularly attends like a kumbaya style feel-good conference where she can get affirmation from her own tribe of like-minded thinking women or men. Another way you can tell if you found a woke woman is if she reads The Guardian and only The Guardian, because she feels that she gets real news from The Guardian.
Right.
Also, terms that are related closely to wokeness are liberalism, left-wing, progressive. So it's not entirely unreasonable to use them as all interchangeably, but I pick woke.
Yeah. Because
a term it just has in recent years been, it's kind of starting to become the butt of well-deserved jokes.
Right.
So I kind of use woke. The opposite of woke, though, is a woman would be a conservative woman. That would be the opposite. A conservative woman is simply more likely to care about traditional social institutions. She'll generally stand for individual rights, civil liberties, the order provided by nature, rather than for regulation, big government, social engineering, things like that.
Right.
In metropolitan areas, woke women have long been making up the overwhelming majority of the young population, 18 to 40.
Yeah.
Starting in the 70s, the education system has simply turned out a large number of young people who were taught that woke principles from an early age, Also, they've been disproportionately visible because they're so outspoken and have such a strong ally in most of the corporate media. Surely for men who seek both, great compassion or a companion at all, you would probably think that a woke woman must be a grade A choice, right? No, not quite. I'm going to give you guys 10 reasons for not dating woke women. Assuming that getting ahead in life and having the best experience among your priorities, these are the reasons why I would recommend not dating feminists, not dating woke women, not dating women who were in the military, not dating women who were in police officers. They're masculine. Those women in those fields generally are masculine. And if you are a masculine man, you want a feminine woman. A masculine man wants a feminine woman.
Yeah.
Now, not all cops are masculine. Not all people in the military are masculine.
In general,
though.
Large population.
Yep. So I've got a few reasons to not date woke women. Number one, conservative women are scientifically proven to look better. It's science.
Yeah.
It's science, damn it. Okay, it's science. I know that I'm onto something here when The Guardian actually agrees with me. In an article published by the Cambridge University Press, given a scientifically accurate but not very informative headline. And it said the headline was Effects of Physical Attractiveness on Political Beliefs. The Guardian said attractive people more likely to be right-wing, study finds. The Washington Post, for once, chose a relatively neutral headline. Conservatives really are better looking, research says. So these are left-leaning articles that have said that conservative women are generally, they look hotter. They look hotter.
Yeah. They have the original
semantic
original hair color that doesn't.
Yeah.
It's one of the natural hair colors.
This is not my words. This is the words of many left-leaning, publications. Conservative women tend to be better looking by conventional, traditional standards. You can fill an entire book with the underlying dynamics and stats, but the key reasons can be explained pretty quickly. Conservative women tend to like natural beauty. They're more likely to take responsibility for their body, health, looks, and they enjoy coming across as feminine. Yeah. The hardcore members of the woke movement make rejection of traditional femininity a prerequisite for its members. You have to reject femininity.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just think of it. Their movement popularized the idea of modeling their looks based on a non-binary mixture of 143 genders. Go figure. So dating a woman who is widely seen as good-looking by conventional standards will not just boost your ego, it'll also change how most other people perceive you. It's scientifically proven, guys, that people who are beautiful by conventional standards do find it easier to get ahead in life. Now, make that good-looking times 2, because not only are you, or should be, taking care of yourself, but you also have a real piece of arm candy as your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife. You'll make an incredible impression when entering a room. That's the force field I mentioned in my intro earlier. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you have a fetish for women with nose piercings, massive tattoos, shaved heads, then my advice is unlikely to work for you guys. Fair enough. And to each their own. Not here to tell you what you want.
Well, would you say, though, that, I've looked at women, and then when they open their mouths and I hear liberal, left-leaning stuff or whatever, they physically start looking ugly to me. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I mean, I don't know if that's just a me thing or whatever, but yeah, I'll look at me, oh, she's attractive. And then she'll start talking to me about signing an online petition or, something like that, or, whatever horoscope says. And I'll just immediately start going, she just starts going down immediately in the looks category.
It does. I agree with that, man. I love traditional women. I love feminine women.
Yeah.
I love women who are fit and friendly and cooperative. Mm-hmm. And I think that most men do as well. But if you're not one of those men, hey, teach their own, buddy. I mean, I'm not saying all, but most men tend to like those kinds of women. Number 2, she'll have more diverse circle of friends and more interesting viewpoints. A conservative woman would.
Yes.
It's widely known that woke people of both sexes have a stronger tendency to surround themselves with people who share their views. Okay. Evidence for this predicate that fateful year of 2016, which any statistic will be even more tainted by political preference than pre-16 stats. I'll give an example. In an extensive study carried out in 2014, 44% of those studied in the so-called constantly liberal had unfollowed, unfriended, or blocked someone on social media because of differing political views.
Yep.
Notably, no other ideological group showed this high of a rate blocking out different viewpoints.
Yeah.
So there are so many examples for why this trend has become even a more accentuated since 2016. I'm not even going to bother giving you more details. I'll leave it with the recent statement from Piers Morgan. If you guys know Piers Morgan, and he's always considered himself liberal, but he said himself,
I know he's like changed
liberal,
over.
Yeah, I mean,
he gets more conservative.
he said himself, liberals have become pathetically liberal. So
Yeah.
Number 3, she'll be more optimistic and happier.
Yeah.
One of the poster children for the woke movement is that lady Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh God, AOC. Yeah.
You know her? She's the
Familiar with her antics.
Democratic congresswoman up there.
Yeah.
She represents the Queens and Bronx, whatever.
Yep.
She's possibly most famous for having said that the world will come to an end in 11 years, climate change,
Right.
So neither Cortez statement nor the position of climate change movement needs to surprise anyone. Throughout history, politicians, rulers, people with a lust for absolute power and control of power and resources have constantly invoked end of times fear mongering to make their power grab. Right. At this point, if you don't know that by now, you have not been paying attention.
Yeah, I can't help you.
Nothing is more effective for making the masses comply than the threat of everyone dying if they don't do what they're told. So,
3
I don't
years
know.
ago.
I mean, I've seen several attempts throughout my lifetime. None of this is surprising or new to me. Should it be for you guys? Where this becomes your problem, though, is if your girl, the choice of her general beliefs in the woke movement is like climate hysteria, because then it starts to get real old real fast.
Right.
You're going to go on that fantastic trip together? Well, you can't, because that'll destroy the planet and end human life. Saving for a pension? Don't bother. We'll all be dead soon.
Yeah.
Thinking about having a family get together? How dare you even think of creating more Earth killers?
Right.
Now, a conservative woman, in comparison, will more likely realize that you can have a burger and get on a plane without triggering an imminent doom.
Right.
She'll want to save up with you to create a happy retirement as the crowning end to your lifelong success and work and business. She's more likely to believe that human integrity, human ingenuity will continue to solve the pressing problems that our planet faces, as it always has. And, you also kind of attract and give off. You attract what you give, off yourself. Optimistic, happy people with a can-do attitude have long been known to attract better things in life overall. I take them 7 days a week over a pessimistic, unhappy woman or man that doubt human ingenuity and brilliance. I mean, I'll take positivity over that all day long.
Well, I go with the whole, at least the conservative women can at least see the hypocrisy. Like AOC will sit there and talk about climate change and the world's ending, but then she'll jump on her private jet and fly across the world, which emits more stuff. And then, of course, if you know the numbers, I mean, China and other countries emit more gases and trash and all other stuff than America already. So why are we the bad guys? Why don't you go over there? There's so many things there. Conservative girls are like, they get that. If they didn't know it, they learn about it and they're like, we're okay. But yeah, the woke crowd, they will, the hypocrisy. That's just always one of my big issues. That goes back to the equality thing. It's like, well, live in the world you create. You're telling me that I shouldn't get on a plane, but yet you get on a private plane and fly over the country to tell people how bad it is.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Fair point. Another thing too, my fourth reason for not dating woke women are woke girls have no sense of humor. I mean, This point is particularly ironic to write because, after all, it used to be conservatives who were the stuffy ones.
Right.
But in a twist of fate, the situation has turned 180 degrees.
It has.
Being woke has always been a byword for being politically correct. Few people remember or know of this, but the term politically correct actually started as a joke in the 70s. Today, it's aimed at protecting anyone and everyone from feeling offended by anything and everything. So offending and pointing out inconvenient truths is the heart of comedy. However, this collides with the woke world's constant offense-seeking for the sake of outrage and virtual signaling moral superiority. Optimistic, happy people with a can-do attitude have long known to attract better things in life overall. But a woke girl, she actually will view comedy as something that has to make her feel satisfied with herself and her beliefs rather than it's need to be funny. Right. Watching late night comedy is not anymore about getting laughs. It's about getting applause for repeating approved woke viewpoints.
Right.
Just turn on the TV and you'll realize as much. I mean, all you gotta do. I mean, besides that, she'll express outrage at everything that could offend the virtual endless list of victimhood groups that our spectrum of politics has created out of thin air. So avoid that.
And they won't live in their own world. That's the other part. They'll get it. And if it's pointed out to them or the hypocrisy is pointed out to them, they'll get mad. That's all they do.
Yeah. Number 5, conservative women are more likely to have a real job. Now, in fairness, I found no statistics or scientific articles about this point, but I did want to include it because it matches my observations. Okay. So looking at the spectrum of woke women that I have recently met, most worked in cash-strapped NGOs, struggling social enterprises, government bureaucracies, cousins and hybrids of aforementioned groups like the ESG, departments of corporations, woke-approved corporate media outfits. In comparison, my conservative female friends mostly work in world-class finance, law firms, owner-operated businesses in areas with real consumer demands, fast-growing enterprises in tech, life science, similar sectors, things like that.
So now, their job is not influencer, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. So we'll make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah. Now, I know it's a generalization, but it's one that I find really hard to ignore because I see it happening all around myself. And contrary to the woke crowd, I do have a very diverse set of people around me. Also, the former mostly latch on to junk science, such as the so-called gender pay gap, to support their sense of entitlement. They believe in equality of outcome rather than equality of opportunity. Stay away from them.
Stay far away from them.
Number 6, woke women have an above average rate of mental illness. Now, don't shoot the messenger. I have pulled up stats and data and statistics. Not my opinions. It's just facts.
Yeah.
One of the scientific advantages of having been around for a bit, because I'm in my mid-40s, is that you have actually seen some pretty damn good actual life experience. It recently dawned on me that virtually all mentally ill women I've ever knew fell into the category of woke, liberal, progressive, left-wing.
Yep.
When discussing the draft of this podcast with a friend, I told one of my female friends, not all woke women I knew were mentally ill,
right? But
almost all mentally ill women I knew were woke,
right?
And then she says, well, do you have any research to back it up? And I said, well, I had a pretty good look around at some search engines, and 2 of the most relevant results I found was from 2009 and 2013, respectively. Now, these studies may seem a little bit dated, okay, but still they have an advantage of originating during an era when not everything was as heavily politicized as it is now.
Right.
So the 2009 Gallup poll from the U.S. reported that 58% of Republicans claim to be in excellent mental health. In contrast, only 38% of Democrats said the same. In the 2013 survey done by BuzzFeed and SurveyMonkey concluded that Democrats had a 1.5 to 2 times higher occurrence of depression, anxiety, attention deficit disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. If anyone has found any further research on this, I'd love to see it. That's what I found.
Yeah, there's actually some newer stuff. The actually numbers are higher. And then, of course, there's my joke of, 25% of all women are medicated, which means that 75% are still running around unmedicated. But there was, I hadn't had a chance pulled up, but from what I remember, they showed data which is interesting about the ones that are that have mental issues and are on medication for it. Is the group is mostly women, and it's in the I think it's 35 and up category is when they get prescribed and they're on like long-term psychotropic drugs.
Yeah, and
that goes along with women's unhappiness as they get older because they get told the lie when they're younger about, I'm going to be a third wave feminist. I want to be this, all that nonsense that one lady was talking about in her TikTok video. And they get older and they go, holy crap, I've screwed the pooch, to put it bluntly. And then they're depressed and they have to get on medication. But
they spend their 20s and 30s running around, chasing their independence, ringing up their body count, not focused on being a wife, not focused on being a mother. And then they realize that feminism was only a lie. It was a lie. And they hit 40 and they're done. Ladies, once you hit 40,
ASPCA cat time.
Man, look, the study I found, again, not my stats, not my statistics, only 2.9% of women 40 and over get married. That's it. 3%. Right. Because men who are looking for marriage are generally looking for starting families.
Right.
You don't generally look for a woman who's in her late 30s or early 40s to have babies with, because a lot of times their egg count is lower than their credit score. So you generally look at late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
Okay. I'm just telling you the minds and thoughts of men. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7, judicial destruction of your life if the relationship goes wrong.
No, God.
Gotta watch out for it. This guy knows it. Okay.
I have a website dedicated to that information.
I quote, destroy his life, make him go through hell, end quotes. That, my friends, was paraphrasing from my memory, but that was the message that an ex-girlfriend of mine told her female friend over the phone when hearing about the female friend's marital breakup.
Yep.
That was her freaking advice.
Yep.
Destroy his life, make him go through hell. Back then, I hadn't really heard of wokeness. In retrospect, though, she was kind of more of like the woke girls, more of like one of the more woke girls I've ever had a relationship with.
Mm.
But overhearing this conversation contributed to about 1/3 of my reason for breaking up with her instead of taking the relationship further. Even at that relatively young age, in my 20s, I was not entirely ignorant to the signs of potential trouble, but I couldn't have put it into concrete reasoning back then, but my instincts really served me well. This whole culture.
This is why I tell the younger crowd is like, you're out there, you're dating, you got your girlfriend, and then you see your friends, they break up or they get married, get divorced. Listen to what your girl's saying. And if she says she's conservative, there's saying you're conservative and there's being conservative. And understand that conservative can change their mind at any time. It happens fairly often. But when you're dating and, listen to what your girl tells her best friend about a breakup or whatever, because guess what? That's how she thinks. She has no problem doing it right back to you. If she tells her best friend, oh yeah, say that he raped you and put him in jail and do this, that's on her mind. She's ready to do something like that to you. Get the hell out. Juice ain't worth the squeeze.
You got to watch out for this woke culture, guys. I mean, there's a plethora of unpleasant aspects.
My website's full of it.
You'll be well advised to keep those aspects out of your life. Entitlement culture, seeing her man as an ATM, cancel culture, the desire to destroy anyone who doesn't agree with the gods of wokeness. Men are replaceable sperm donors.
Yeah.
Third wave feminism. I mean, just look at the term if you don't understand what it is. I mean, some things don't work out, and it's occasionally necessary to move on from something. I get it. Though, if you are dealing with a woke girlfriend or wife, you have a higher risk of finding yourself in a situation where the rest of your life becomes very difficult because she feels that you need the punishment. She feels the desire and need to punish you.
Right.
So there's never any guarantees of anything in life.
No.
And things can go badly with anyone, even conservative women. However, more so than ever before, I will carefully choose who I let into my life, because making these mistakes in this regard can mess up your finances for the rest of your life, or even worse.
Yeah.
Number 8, don't get dragged into the pitful double life of woke hypocrisies. Woke women are the most fervent virtue signals of them all. But don't take their words to mean anything, okay? Just because she insistently posts about social justice issues on Facebook doesn't mean that she applies it to any of her life. Just like Dwayne said earlier, the long-standing motto of her side of the political spectrum is do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
For her, it'll be climate change posting on Facebook today, and then that wine tasting trip to South Africa tomorrow. If she can, she'll be delighted to fetch a private plane ride all the way to South Africa to lecture the world about the importance of flight shaming.
Right.
She'll never question any of this for herself, though.
Nope.
One of the amazing things of the woke movement is that both logic and shame have been banned from their planet. So, at least in their own mind. So watch out for that stuff. Number 9, appreciating that men and women make for a perfect team. There are few regrets I have in life, guys. One of them, though, is that it took me into my 40s to realize what a bunch of amazing girlfriends I had in the past. Some of them made for great teams and could have been an even greater team if I had invested more time and effort, which I didn't do for a range of reasons. I've come to see the wrongness in my ways in terms of underappreciating a well-working female-male relationship. It's just an incredible asset to have.
Yes.
Woke women seem to have moved further in the opposite direction. If you fancy having a child, no man is required for that. Never mind the fact that growing up without a father is the single most relatable social indicator for a child's failing in life.
Yep.
The main thing is that she can feel empowered and woke. Screw the consequences. Screw the consequences it'll have on her children. As long as she feels empowered, that's all that matters. Planning on building a career? There's a lot to be said in favor of having someone backing you up in that endeavor in all the ways that a healthy relationship can. Obviously, girl power doesn't require that. She'll break that glass ceiling all by herself. There are gender quotas nowadays to achieve that for her, regardless of her qualifications, regardless of her effort. Having company in the evening, her 3 cats will handle that. I've had the best of times when I had a happy relationship. Guys, there are also these contributed to my getting ahead in business, getting ahead in life, getting ahead in various ways, having a good woman by your side. One of the New York Times woke contributors once headlined, they literally headlined this, the New York Times, men who needs them.
Yeah.
I mean, by now, guys, I feel sorry for all the women who fall for this garbage. I'm also old enough to know a few female friends who have fell for this earlier in life, and they all regret it. They all regret it. But I will also very happily not have any of these woke women in my life, except as a friend to keep my social life exciting and diverse.
Yeah.
Last one is conservatism is the new counterculture, and wokeism is lamestream. So I reserve the right to occasionally amend my opinion to latch on to new and exciting trends when the old ones have run out of steam.
Yep.
Edgy, hold on. Edgy culture. Sorry, I was looking at something. Edgy culture nowadays comes almost exclusively from the conservative end of things. Folks on the other end of the spectrum, they can't try out anything new anymore because they're too afraid of offending everyone.
Right.
But conservatives are now the ones who are pushing boundaries and who make things lively and well. They make things engaging. I much prefer someone who occasionally steps outside the safe zone and pushes the envelope a little bit further.
Mm-hmm.
I expect that this will help me too in my strides to making leaps forward. A study shows 92% of left-wing activists live with their parents.
Yeah.
And one in three is unemployed. That was a study done in Berlin on protesters.
Mm-hmm.
In closing, guys, pay attention to supply and demand. Some of the hottest and most attractive women I know are conservatives living in big cities and rank amongst the citadels of wokeness. Places like London, New York, LA, the wokeness capitals of the world. And some of the hottest attractive women are conservatives living amongst all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And their ranks are growing, especially among younger generations. Generation Z, the people born in 96 to 2010, have repeatedly been reported to be the most conservative generation since World War II.
Wait, are you talking about men and women or just women? Because there was a study that came out with Scotty, we were talking about earlier, school-age children, that boys under 12th grade are becoming more and more conservative, whereas the women in 12th grade and under are becoming more liberal. Of course, I guess that's not Generation Z or X or whatever
Z,
one it is.
yeah.
Z. So maybe that's the upper one, but it looks like at least from this study, they're showing though that women are becoming more and more liberal, whereas their counterparts, the boys, are becoming more conservative because they're tired of the crap.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, over the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of millennials turn conservative because of what they witnessed happening in UK and US politics.
Oh, yeah.
Woke culture has become its own enemy, and people are turning their backs to it in droves. But at the same time, more men than ever have been beaten into submission by the woke culture. I mean, just take a look around large cities.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll notice what the large percentage of men, has taken on, this emasculated look to them, being anything but heterosexual is incredibly fashionable nowadays. Not the least because it also moves you up the victim hierarchy also.
Right.
And in turn promises privileges and handouts. If you're a, white male conservative, oh my God, you're trash, I guess. I mean, guys, think about this. Conservative women increasingly need magnifying glasses to find the remaining men who are straight and strong enough to stand up to the woke culture. I doubt many of these conservative hot chicks will start to date gender fluid social justice warriors with rainbow colored tattoos across their face and angel wings inked on their back. They're not looking for those kind of men. There's a highly attractive growing part of the single female dating market waiting to be discovered. And now it goes across all age groups. So it's up to you to explore and make use of them. These are my observations, the observations of Dwayne, and they are based on a combination of both anecdotal evidence, personal experience, and scientific research. And I have yet to find any current studies where the overall phenomenon is broken down in more detail. From my perspective, though, it's all reasonably self-evident if you're just not going through life with both eyes closed. So it all boils down to a couple things. There's a growing number of conservative women with desirable traits. There is a decreasing number of men who make a viable partner for them. The numbers are working in your favor if you are straight, conservative man, and that's simply supply and demand. I'd even go as far, guys, as saying that if you play your cards right, this is now the most exciting segment of the dating market to thrust yourself into. Or maybe we'll soon see a trend where it becomes an in and perhaps even woke for a woke person to date a conservative person. I mean, who knows what the future is going to hold?
Oh God, I cannot imagine. So, what advice would you have? Okay, let's throw it in the real world here. Examples. So, person's tuning in, and they are they're a conservative guy, and they're dating a woke girl. What should they do? All things being equal, I know you can't do specific whatever, but in general, conservative guy is dating or married to a conservative girl. What does he do?
Well, pray a lot, because she's going to make your life hell.
Yes.
But what I would do as the leader of your household is be consistent, be true, be disciplined, be structured, be organized. Don't vary in your thoughts, your beliefs. Yeah. You are the leader of that household. Your values, your morals, your standards need to remain solid as a rock.
Yes. Fashion,
language, jokes, culture, they can flow like the wind. But the morals and standards and your belief system need to remain hard and true. So if you believe that men should be men and women should be women, that men should provide and protect and women should nurture and love, then raise your kids that way, despite what the wife says. Now, I'm not saying don't flex and don't bend. I'm not saying don't allow her to go to protest her beliefs. If that's what she feels, that's fine. Try to find that mutual balance there. But in terms of values, hold firm like a rock.
Yes.
And protect yourself. Make sure you know who has the ear of your wife.
Yeah.
Because the people she goes to when you guys are having hard times, the people that she gets advice from when you two are at odds, are going to influence that woman to make a decision that's going to affect you.
Right.
So who has your wife's ear? Who has your girlfriend's ear? Because if it's a woke, liberal girlfriend of hers, you know she's not talking traditional family values to your wife. She's telling her how much you're not needed, how good she can do without you, how empowering and strong your wife is. She's strong enough to leave you. She's not talking about duty in marriage, responsibility in marriage. She's talking about how you can be replaced easily. And what happens is your wife will file for divorce like 80 to 90% of females do.
Yep.
Split half the assets. You go that way. She goes that way. And then you pick up the remaining pieces of what you call your life. And that woman is likely never going to be married again, live with 3 cats, and she'll be miserable and depressed.
And she'll owe you 3 months.
You will eventually, you'll eventually remarry because your values and morals stay strong. And women are looking for good, strong, conservative men who provide, protect, and lead. But your wife, she needs protection sometimes from herself, sometimes from the women who are in her ear, telling her that she don't need no man. Who has your kid's ear? Who has your wife's ear? The people that you love, care about. Who are they listening to?
Mm-hmm.
What is your kids watching on the internet? What TV shows, what female friends is your wife lobbying her opinions and thoughts and beliefs are?
Her influences,
Be careful. That's my advice. Be careful.
So
you can make it work.
So should you bend at all on like giving, if she wants to do something that is contrary to the conservative viewpoints, should you bend or pull back, give her an inch kind of thing?
Give me an example.
She wants to. I'm about to go out. I can't even think of one now. She wants to. Oh, just.
If it's something like, I'm going to vote left wing and you vote right wing, I think we should continue to give money to Ukraine. You think we shouldn't? Don't let that,
Yeah. No.
make unnecessary arguments.
Let's see. Well, I'm trying to think of something.
If she thinks that maybe it's appropriate for your kids to be watching content that talks about gays and transgenders and things like that, then I would not be as flexible there.
Right. Would you allow her to usurp your authority? Like, that's one of my favorite words to use. So you say the kids have to be in bed by 9, and then you're off doing your own thing, and then she comes and says, stay up till 11. Don't worry about what dad says. I would jump in there.
Okay. Here's why, guys.
I was getting ready to jump through the podcast at you if you meant when you said I would let it go. Oh, hell no.
No. I would jump in there, and here's why, guys. Because generally speaking, women don't possess the discipline and structure that men do. All you got to do is look at how kids are being raised. Over the last 30 years. How well is our 30 and under crowd doing, being raised by mostly women? I'm not here to talk trash about women, but I'm saying that the stats do not lie. They don't lie.
Right.
You think I'm wrong? Go to pissedoffparent.com. Take a look at the stats. Okay. Men, generally speaking, are the disciplinarians. We understand the importance of structure and discipline. If you say 8:30, it's 8:30.
Right.
If you say no, it means no.
Right.
If you and your wife have a conflict, don't talk about it in front of your kids. Go in private and hash out, and then you be the spokesperson for the family. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm not saying no to the wife. I'm saying that her and I talk. It might be her idea, but you're the spokesperson.
Right.
It might be her writing out what you say at the podium, but you step to the podium of life and give the word to the masses.
Right.
You take the lead. Okay. Her word is important and valuable, but she will always err on the side of nurturing, loving, and protecting her babies from boo-boos. Yep. You will always err on the side of get yourself up, rub some dirt on it, get back in the game.
Right.
And which one of the two do you feel
build societies
makes them ready, more prepared for life? Because when your kids get out there on life, no one loves your kids like you do.
Yep.
No one cares about your kids like you do. And no one's going to treat them any nicer because they came from you. They're going to treat them like everybody else. And if they've been coddled in bubble wrap their entire lives, they're going to struggle. And you're seeing it every day.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my thought.
Mine's
no doubt.
Yeah, mine. I mean, I've been married 3 times. I would, when it comes to usurping my authority, that is a no, get out. The door is right there, go. There is no leniency, no whatever. It is, my advice, Nicola, of advice, free advice here is that you guys, kind of, as you laid out, you guys talk about it. Man makes the final decision. And I know it's going to cackle some hairs, and those people can be misunderstood or trying to misconstrue what I'm saying. But man makes a final decision, and what he says goes. If the woman usurps that authority, gone.
Yeah,
because if you do it one time, that becomes the new line, and then it keeps going back and back and back. And next thing you know, you're a cuck. It'll take. Didn't happen to me, but that's where you're going. They're going to think that when someone goes around you or does something shifty like that, what is that? That's disrespect, because they don't respect your position, and they go around it. That tells me that tells them that it's okay to disrespect you. And if they can disrespect you on one thing, they can disrespect you on everything else. And if some some Arby's sandwich wants to sit here and go, I'm special, no, you're not. You don't like it, get the hell out. Plain and simple. And again, I'm happily married. My wife understands this. I mean, we've had the conversation. It's not a, I'm sitting there all big. We've had the conversation. I'm like, these are the rules, and I'm very strict on this. It's disrespect to me. You need to understand it's disrespectful. You usurp my authority, gone. And for the ones that are like, it's vice versa. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to, argue with you or belittle you in front of the family or intentionally go around you or lie to you or any of those things that disrespect you. Give me equality, the exact same, I guess, respect. And when you let anybody, I can sit here and say woman, and for some reason it gets everyone's cackles up. You disrespect anyone, it's going to piss them off, and you should not do that. And if you do it once, you can do it again. That's how that works. Someone cheats on you. Oh, it was a mistake. I didn't understand. I'll never do it again. That's at the end of the day, it's disrespecting you. They went outside the confines of your relationship. And if they do it once, how many people can raise their hands here? They'll do it again for other reasons. What you've told them is they can disrespect you. You can't repair that. That's that crumpled piece of paper analogy you've used. Take the piece of paper, throw it out. It's over. So I have zero. I mean, I've been married 3 times. The first 2 marriages ended pretty much due to disrespect. That is a hard line. And the first one, I allowed it to happen for years. And you saw a video of the end result of parts of that the other day.
I sure did. Yeah.
I that is one thing. And again, wife and I are happy as can be. You see all this behind me. They have a wonderful life. Everyone knows their roles, and we're both extremely happy. Actually, Brandy tells me on a daily basis, I hate feminism. She hates it. She's like, whoever the idiot was that came up with this equality nonsense, she wants to shoot them because they're stupid. She doesn't want
women
that.
are more unhappy. Women are more unhappy now than they ever have been in the history of humanity.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, it's going to be an interesting few years coming up. So, my thoughts, people, are this. What are your guys' observations? These are complex issues, and I'm always open to changing my opinion based on better evidence, based on better arguments and insight. So if someone spots mistakes in my podcast or contributes aspects that I had not previously been aware of, then I'll hear them. I'll hear them out. Unlike the woke crowd, nothing triggers me, guys. So I'm good.
Yeah.
But I want to thank everyone for tuning into today's episode of the Big Show podcast. My name is Jimmy Smith. Dwayne Ward is next to me. We always try to give you informative, fun topics. We're here every Sunday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys next week on the same time, same channel on Dad Talk Today. You guys have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Don't take woke women.